As we've told you, it's yet another day in court for former President Jacob Zuma. And I need to say this slowly. It's confusing. So here we go. He's approached the High Court in Pietermaritzburg, applying for a stay of execution of the order for his arrest and detention for 15 months. This pending the hearing and decision of his other application in the Constitutional Court. Zuma wants the High Court in Pietermaritzburg to order that he doesn't have to start serving his 15-month prison sentence until the Constitutional Court matter is concluded. The High Court matter will be heard virtually shortly. In terms of the Constitutional Court order last week, police have until tomorrow to arrest Zuma. But the former president wants the Constitutional Court judgment and order that sentenced him to be rescinded. The Apex Court has agreed to hear him out on that separate application next Monday. I hope it makes sense. All right, let's go to eNCA senior journalist Aviwe Mdila. He's out in Pietermaritzburg and watching developments there. Aviwe, there was a group of ANC supporters, in fact, former President Jacob Zuma supporters that were trying to gather there. Police drawing the line and saying that that gathering cannot, unlike what we saw in Kandla, that gathering on a smaller scale cannot go ahead. Where do we stand at the moment while we wait for the hearing to begin virtually?
Well, breaching the Gatherings Act is what those supporters were told just outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court here as they gathered for about 30 or so minutes in support of the former President Jacob Zuma. The police then confronted them. As you can see, there's still about a dozen policemen out in numbers, still in front of the High Court here as they blocked off this stretch-off road with the traffic police assisting, I understand from Mzunzun, the traffic policing, for about 200 meters, just blocking cars and traffic moving in and out of this direction. The supporters are scattered on the other side, which is some sort of park right in front of the High Court in Pietermaritzburg. But I want to catch up with one of the leaders that was leading that form of protest. Thank you for joining us at eNCA. What are the police telling you as you try to gather? I understand that you told you're breaching the Gatherings Act, which I understand in these times, given that we're under the COVID-19 pandemic, especially level 4, is a bit careless.
Of course, the police said to us that we are breaching the Gatherings Act. The act that emanates from apartheid laws, it has been taken over to this dispensation where we are not allowed to gather.
But now it's been put on the context of the current pandemic that we're under, COVID-19. It's not only for these supporters only, but we understand a national issue as a pandemic grips through the country.
Of course, but you see the implementation of these regulations of the COVID are very, they are not consistent. If you can look across right there, there are just about 5 or 6 groups of people gathering. There is no social distance. There is no adherence to the COVID regulations. But only when you stand to defend President Jacob Zuma, the police will tell you about the Gatherings Act and all the regulations when they themselves are gathered in numbers. But let's take it a step further to say the people of this country are resolute that they are going to stand with President Jacob Zuma. Even if it means meeting the mighty force of the police, we shall do that. We did it in the apartheid.
Why gather, though, in numbers, given that this even sitting, the court sitting, is a virtual one?
It is within our nature as Africans that when one of ours is under siege, we gather together, we sing songs, we chant slogans, we give him high morale. In fact, we gather in this instance to make sure that we can get strength from one another to correct what we see as a tragedy that has gone wrong for our national democratic revolution. We see the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress that is no longer willing to keep up with the historic mission of the African National Congress to lead us into an egalitarian society, a society where black and African people in particular will have the right to land and economy of this country.
Okay, so the police are here. What happens then going forward outside court?
Well, I don't know. I cannot, speak about the schedule of the police, but I can tell you what I'm going to do. I came here as an individual. I'm going to stay here as an individual, and I'm going to express my rights. In fact, just a few minutes ago, I had to seek the advice of an attorney to see if I do have a constitutional right to display my feelings as an individual. Is that in contravention of COVID regulations? I don't think so. I'm going to stand here.
All right.